100% off the strength, man.
Off the strength.
I did it all on the strength, all on the strength. Fuck fucking, I'ma do this off the strength.
Run it back, can't relax, that's just facts off the strength.
It's off the strength. Can't get that off the strength.
Understanding that every action does not deserve a reaction, right? But it does deserve for you to take in what you just heard or receive and process it. And then allow yourself to say, well, do I even want to give this any life? Do I even want to respond to this?
What's going on, fam? This is KR Jones of the Off the Strength podcast, and I am here to tell you to like, listen, subscribe, and if you're feeling freaky, visit offthestrength.com. That's where you can go and get more information on us. That's where we can link, we can build, we can connect, and let's make this thing work.
And I did all of these years. Physical fitness tests for the politicians. Say that out loud. What's that? Partner. By getting into a little bit of live music, my friend. Speak output as an anything. Those moms are not the same. Eating cereal for dinner, do better.
What's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome back to yet another episode of Off the Strength, where we're giving you the inside look into all things wellness culture. I'm a trainer called Tony, and of course, with me, I got a gentleman of extraordinary league.
KR Jones is in the building.
That's right, folks. We are back, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far, you are now in store for a treat because, Brother Jones.
What's the word?
Let me let you know today, sir.
Okay.
I'm excited to bring on the show a guest that is not just a friend, a pal, but also a confidant. Okay, I got to talk to you about a good brother by the name of Joe Black, the Melanin God, right?
Meet Joe Black.
Meet Joe Black, man. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that I came across this brother Joe during that downtime when everybody was outside riding around, and I heard that this brother was putting together something called the Giants Ride. Right? Now, that thing would go on and evolve, and I got a chance to meet the CPC crew themselves. Shout out to the brother Mitch, because the first time we sat down, bro, we sat down right inside of my guy Mitch's spot. Absolutely. That's also Kyle's guy, too. He used to train with Mitch back in the day. Okay. And from that very first conversation, I knew that this man was not only somebody who was passionate about his community, who was passionate about the health and wellness that he could bring to that community through a vehicle like a bike, but he's also somebody who's a learned person, a passionate father, and somebody who is dedicated to the sport of cycling, not just helping you on the physical side, but helping you on the mental and the spiritual side.
He smoked me on the Brooklyn Bridge, too.
Oh, let me let you know.
So, time,
when you see him on this Chinelli out here, right?
Man.
You're not even going to see him. All you're going to do is hear him, okay?
Bro.
It sounds like the train is coming through
it's slow
when
motion
this brother's on this
till
bike.
There's no motion till he ain't even near you no more.
The crew is CPC.
Okay.
Century plus crew. That means he going at least 100 when you see him.
Facts.
Flying past you, blowing the doors off you, and like you standing still.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen him do it smooth to me too, many a time, on many a ride. So I'm happy that we could be at the same speed with this brother. Let's make some noise for Joe Robertson. What's up, my brother Joe?
Appreciate y'all.
Joe Black is in the house.
Thank you, man. What an honor to be here, man. And listen, that speed y'all talking about is a mirage, man. It's a mirage.
Nah, that's how I felt when you went past. I was like, that couldn't have been Joe. That sounded like a night train. Just went.
Now you see me, now you don't.
It was like, oh, damn. He is up the bridge. He on the other side of the bridge already. I see him down there. It's like, I ain't even catching this dude.
I was talking trash because I ain't know. I was like, don't let me beat you.
And then you fucked around and met Joe Black. It's like, see? You see how I came up?
I did.
Joe, my brother, you gave me this bit of information the last time that we touched base. We got to check in on our friends, man. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. I'm grateful. Outside of navigating, normal, well, if you want to call it normal, but like trials and tribulations of life, I'm grateful because I know that there's many people for some reason in our age range that are reaching their demise through natural causes, you know, and even more of a of a place for us to like really push the envelope on health and wellness.
Yeah.
And actually doing our due diligence to go see health professionals and do that those screenings, whatever that may be. You know, a lot of us we wake up and I'm good. No, I'm good. You feel the pains, you get the telltale signs, and you just shake it off like I'm good. You know, I'll be all right. You know, drink some ginger ale, drink some tea. You know, I'll be fine. You know, those. But yeah, I definitely would like to advocate for people to really do their screenings.
Yeah.
That way you can at least have a head start on whatever your road is, because I say, like, from my personal circle, people in my range, probably like the past 4 years, that people like checking out, and not from the things that we're thinking of growing up. I'm from old school Bed-Stuy, where if somebody checks out, it's probably due to some act of violence.
Some wildness.
It's not that. Cats is in their 40s and 50s, strokes, cardiac arrest, like all kind of, so it's like, what's happening here? Like
real rap, man.
Yeah.
It was an accomplishment to make it to 21 at some point in time, which is crazy to say.
Yeah.
Right? At close to the same or similar kind of ranges that we're talking about. Like, I remember people being like, yo, you made it to 21, dog. That's a real accomplishment. And you'd be like, wait, what? Like, now I'm looking back at it, you were supposed to do that. That was supposed to be a given. Hey. But because of what was happening in Bed-Stuy, same product, man, it wasn't necessarily, assured, right? But now you're looking at we're in the first phases, Joe, of seeing what the impacts of getting past that first level of, hey, we still struggling, but we still came out of the struggle. Now we're trying to get into that thrive level, and the black man aging is a real thing that is of my concern, just like it is of yours, because I too have lost a bunch of people way too soon in this space, man, and we don't have enough of we don't see a lot of our artists that we looked up to growing up making it out of that same struggle, making it to that level of affluence to proliferate. It's like you see them get the money, but it's like, hey, what you doing with your body?
Yeah.
What you doing with your spirit?
Yeah.
Where's your mind going, right? And how are you taking all of that and helping that steer you to a better path? So I too understand that, man, and this is why I got to really champion you, my brother, because I see you do this on a regular basis so often. When I tell you a man that is a salt of the earth, I judge people, Joe, by not just what they say, but what they do, right? I see how you show up for your community. I see how you show up for people who are in positions of thriving, and when they down too. That's a big thing for me. People could show up when you up.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
That's a fun thing to come out to.
Of course.
Hey, when I'm down, where you gonna be?
That's a fact.
Because that's really the pieces that help me understand how down we are together, right? And my brother, I got to tell you, lockstep, I've seen it. I've been there. And I'm proud to say that I'm in your orbit when you're doing that kind of stuff, because I know that you are a real one in a way that a lot of people ain't, Joe.
No, for sure. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you.
It's love, man. So my brother Joe, I want to get into your story. I want to talk about the origins, but first things first, bro. I want to let everybody know where you at right now as you exist at the pinnacle of the game, right? Talk to me a little bit about what you're doing now, what you got coming up with the Century Plus Crew, and please define Century Plus Crew for the people that might not know out there.
Okay. Century Plus Crew, basically, our mantra is we all we got. The pandemic came about. I've been cycling, well before that, but the pandemic came about and like the world stopped for a lot of people. We had massive protests, right? We had George Floyd, travesty, and we had a lot of things going on. So there were a lot of groups kind of coming together and doing a lot of social justice through cycling, if you will. And we were definitely supportive of that. Then there were groups that were doing a lot of like very, very, very local rides. And though cycling has a very strong therapeutic presence, some of us is like, you know what, we need, along with this therapy that we're getting on this bike, and we're advocating for better things in place for us, we want to challenge ourselves. And as of October 17th, 2020, myself as one of the co-founders and Rob Sanchez as one of the co-founders, devised this plan to, just throw a WhatsApp chat. Like Century Plus Crew literally started as a WhatsApp chat, just compiling different cyclists from in the community that we just wanted to see if they were interested, and a great amount of people were. And we created a route, put the ride together. We got support for it. Rob's sons, actually came up and supported us as SAG support, and and if I can get into the visuals of the ride, like there's so many people like who just were not as knowledgeable as they were at the time. It's like, you know what, I have a bike, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Book bags, wife beaters, sneakers, you know what I'm saying? Like just not what people would deem to be traditional cycling clothing, whatever that would be, right? I think as long as you get on your bike, it don't matter what the hell you're wearing, right? That's my thought. But just to see that growth and evolution, we went out there and we did 120 miles, and it came with its adversities. There were people that were not doing their due diligence to stay on top of their hydration, on top of their nutrition, and those things are paramount. Because in this game of cycling, people often have a misconception that, well, when I'm thirsty, I will drink, or when I'm hungry, I will then consume nutrients. And that's obviously, a detriment to yourself. You have to kind of time when you're going to consume those rations, even if you don't feel thirsty, if you don't feel hungry, because that is your fuel.
Yeah.
If you start to eat when there's no fuel left, then you're gonna need a tow truck.
Yeah, by the time you realize that, if you are thirsty while you're moving, you're probably dehydrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the time it catch up, you done missed the boat. Yeah. So I understand that.
It's definitely too late. And from that, we created a space. We created a home. And after Montauk, they was like, well, what's next? So the people just started like putting together like random impromptu pop-ups, and then everybody's schedule didn't align. So then we had to regroup now, like, you know what, maybe we need to figure out a better structure, right? So that, we can create, and plan things ahead of time, because we were just freestyling. Yo, I'm going here. And, people, there's some people who couldn't make it, and it's like, damn, I would like to go, but I have this going on. Can we try to create a better structure? So that's basically what it was. It's just, coming out of a very tough period and creating a space that still exists today, 5 years later, thank goodness.
Yeah, man, it's amazing to see. I would say something that I champion about the staying there for 5 years straight. You had to learn to take something that you liked as an activity and transition that into a community. And now you're on the preface of transition that even further into like you define, is this a nonprofit? Is this a business? Is this going into that? But through all those peaks and valleys and maturations, you're also dealing with a lot of different people, right? A lot of different thoughts, a lot of different aspects to which, hey, it started off as one thing, but now it's taking shape and becoming something much bigger than what it initially, was intended to be. When that's happening, what are you thinking?
It's definitely on the job training.
Yeah.
We just this year, April of this year, we finally became established as a 501c3 through the IRS. Like, they sent us our letter.
There we go.
It took some time. It's like a 9-month process, but they finally responded to us, and so we are actually established as a 501c3.
Hey, shout out to the nonprofit status over there, man.
Hey, listen, it's a grind, man. But to your point, not understanding direction at first, and then saying, well, you know what? In order to try to obtain these things, we need to probably do this. Like, it's just putting the pieces of the puzzle together as we're going. And navigating personalities and things like that. You can't please everybody.
Yeah.
Right? If you try to please everybody, you're going to lose your mind. We went through a lot of like trials and tribulations in terms of trying to cater to everyone's preferences, and we realized that we kept hitting a hard dead end. So that part, going through those roller coasters, has allowed us to identify, well, you know what? We've been here before. We've seen what this looked like. So we're not going to revisit that. If that ever does resurface, we know how to handle it head on. And just with, you know, in a tactful manner, express like, well, you know what? I appreciate your concern, but, you know, this is not where we are, because this is what we identified as what we want our base structure to be. And, you know, just, you know, respect those boundaries, and, you know, we're good. We're good over here.
Man, you are a person that is also being the best version of a diplomat that I could ever hear. Because, Joe, I done heard some bullshit, right? And I seen the bullshit. And I done been in the room while the bullshit was happening. And I was like, this man is a better man than me in a lot of these circumstances, because he's hearing some shit, and I'm talking about poise and grace in the middle of some bullshit. Speak on it.
It takes a lot, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, I definitely used to react a lot differently. And a lot of that work, you know, like meditation and just a lot of being able to say, well, you know what, as long as you don't make physical contact with me, we're good.
Yeah.
Certain things verbally obviously has to be addressed, but it takes a lot of understanding that a lot of times people are writing checks that they do not want to cash.
You know they can't.
Right? And while I understand that for me is the, you know, the aha moment. Like, you know what? This is a bait. I'm not going to take it.
Man.
Let me just retract and just understand that the mission supersedes anybody's ego, right? Like, there was a time I was not here and the entity kept on going. So that's important. Like, it's for us we are trying to establish something, and we have established something that is supposed to outlast the people that have started it, and, you know, those that are a part of it, and hopefully generations to come. So that is the main goal, is for people to gravitate towards something that's not actually accessible to us in a large light like it is, you know, in Europe, and it's still not really in our community, like, identified as something that you can make a career out of.
You're talking about the world of cycling.
World of cycling, correct.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. For context, like, where we're from, they're throwing the basketball at you, throwing the football at you, throwing the baseball at you, like, hey, you know, figure out, oh, you know, well, you can run fast, you know, fine. But I think kicking down any door that's possible to allow us to thrive can only help. I remember I was playing, I went to John Jay High School, I was playing ball, and my gym teacher, he said, well, you know, a lot of you guys are athletic, but have you thought about, like, playing volleyball? And we laughed, and we laughed at him and said, hey, get out of here, what the hell are you talking about? But he's thinking, like, well, you're one person trying to achieve something that many people are trying to achieve within the same community. Why not use your abilities in something that will get you somewhere, right? But not where you're in a pool trying to, you know, fight 100,000 sharks. You know? So I didn't see that at the end, but as I replay that conversation in my mind, like, we really laughed this man out the gym, like, get out of here, volleyball, that you talking about? But
he's giving you a scholarship right there.
He was dropping the gym on you, brother.
Yes.
He's like, big fish in a small pond kind of situation.
100%. Joe, as you're speaking, I'm hearing the evolution, right? I'm hearing you talking about coming in contact with dealing with other people's egos, right? In the context of building a community, building a support system for that community, and turning it into something that could be beneficial through this nonprofit, right? I want to know about your personal evolution, right? How do you get to this space where you can see when somebody ego flaring up, when they puffing their chest up, and then have that knowledge to apply it to be like, let me retract, right? Like, paint that picture from how you get to that point, but then also add some context as to how you got to biking in that landscape of what that looked like in Bed-Stuy to present day.
Okay. As far as cycling, like, from children, right? Like, we get bikes, whatever condition it is, we're riding on the sidewalk. That's and we're just escaping whatever may be happening at the moment. It's fun, right? And a lot of where I know to go locally is from my youth, right? Where we had the GTs, the mongooses, right?
Yeah,
My
little red line.
Yeah.
I was on a Huffy for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely the Huff.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
on a Huffy.
Even the first road bike I ever rode, my uncle had an old school Raleigh.
Okay.
Like steel, the silver joint, you know what I'm saying? Like had the brakes on the hoods, The
Looked
shifters
like a
in the
little
middle.
ram or something. I never understood if the shifter was on the actual body of the bike.
Yeah.
I was never shifting.
Yeah.
I was
You
just
gotta
staying in
push
that
the
gear.
button down.
Yeah. That's a fact, man. But with that, you realize that you can see so much, even before being old enough to get a license and being old enough to drive. You can see so much just on those two wheels. And of course, not knowing that as you get older, it becomes not only a lifestyle, but like a lifetime investment.
Yeah.
And that's basically what cycling is for me. Like I personally, though I drive for a living, like I'm still on my bike, probably much more than I'm driving any vehicle, because for one, been doing it so long since we were small, and then plus now in my mind I'm like, well, there's a whole 7 continents, and this bike can go there.
Yeah.
And this bike can allow me to see things within these continents that I probably would not be able to see, based upon whatever may be going on there, whether there's political issues, whatever the case may be. But I know that the bike is a conduit to see so much of the earth in slow motion, as opposed to driving past things 40-something miles an hour. You're gonna miss a lot. So for that is just the experience of taking in things in slow motion, and that's really what the journey is in with the community. I truly believe that a lot of us, outside of our personal and professional lives, like a lot of us really use this cycling as a temporary escape, right?
Yeah, well, go into that a little bit.
Yeah. I think everyone is dealing with something, right? Everyone is dealing with something, and a lot of times we're walking past people, and because it may not show, you may feel like that person's all right, but that person could be dealing with a shot clock on their life, or someone that's near and dear to them, maybe putting them through some stress and strife, whatever the case may be. But when you hop on that bike, you can kind of tune out from reality momentarily. Of course, it's not going to disappear.
Nah.
But momentarily, while you're on that bike and you're focusing on your safety, and you're traversing the terrain of New York City or wherever you are, you can definitely be in tune with your thoughts, whether you're listening to music, whatever the case may be, and just use that as therapy, as your meditation, until you have to return back to whatever it is and deal with what you need to deal with head on. The dealing with personalities, again, I would say in our first 2 years, it was very hard to navigate because everyone wanted something done in their way. And it wasn't necessarily conducive to the greater good of the entire space. Even from administratively also, but also within the membership, it became where as you go and be above and beyond to do things to try to cater to what's best for the entire group, there's someone who's like, well, you know what, maybe you can do this, maybe you can do that, maybe you should do this. So we don't mind being receptive to ideas because we don't know everything. Like I said, it's on the job training. Even though we're here 5 years, like anyone that's able to help me get a perspective or a trajectory that I'm not, actually seeing at that moment, if it makes sense, absolutely. Like, I'm open to it. But then again, if we constantly try to shapeshift the group to cater to what people want it to be, then we then lose our essence.
Yeah.
We then lose our essence. And that right there is something that if we start to lose ourselves and what the grassroots level of the group was like built on, then I don't think it makes sense to even continue.
That's right, man. I definitely see. It's kind of like you don't go into a restaurant and tell them to change. Hey, this is a Thai restaurant.
Hey, yo, I need a cheeseburger.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this is what I need right now. Make it rock. Now you could get probably a fly cheeseburger at a Thai restaurant, but they not doing that. It's like, hey, we have the capacity to do this, and if you feel so passionately about that, you know what? Nobody's stopping you from going and doing the thing that you do. You want to do. You want to bring that about. You know, it's funny to see how many suggestions people have, but then the lack of executions that they have. That disparity is always something that's going to be telling to me, at least, because I again, being kind, being understanding, creating a container where it's like, hey, that passes, we go through that. Hey, I heard a lot of them things that people wanted to do, and then I see where they at now, and I'll be like, oh, so you ain't even believing that. It's like, hey, all the stuff that you was giving a hard time about, hey, where'd that go? What happened with that thought? What happened with that idea? And it's different to get people to follow you when you are the person at the point of whatever that suggestion is. You're the receptacle. You're the person creating space and holding the container for it. It's easy to shine a light on everybody else to say what they're not doing, but when it's your turn to do it and you don't end up doing it, we gotta look at it for what it is, right? Now, Joe, I want to also go through a couple of pieces that you brought up, like the ability to tune out, but I do think you get to tune in as well, right? And the tune in part, I keep hearing in a lot of just your philosophy, I would say, in a lot of the way that you're looking at the world. Where off the bike do you attribute that to? Like, where did you get the ability to have perspective in the way that you do? Like, I hear the different pieces of information that are coming from a wide array of stuff. Like, talk to me a little bit about how you put that together.
I would say my upbringing has a lot to do with that.
Take me through it.
Yeah, I would say my upbringing has a lot to do with that. Single parent household, right? My dad is alive and well, but unfortunately, sometimes everybody doesn't assume their responsibilities and to the highest regard as they should, right? But just watching my mom, trying, with four of us, it was kind of difficult to watch, right? So, and why I say that is because if the head of household doesn't have much resources, how can the human beings that she's trying to nurture and cultivate, how can they, thrive? And with that, for me, I said, well, you know what? At a young age, I said, let me try to figure some things out. Right now, when that male guidance is not present, or father figure is not present, now at a young age, you feel like, well, now I got to be the man of the crib, right? I got to figure this out because, we're struggling. So that leads, to not the greatest decisions, right? That leads to probably saying to yourself, well, you know what? Let me embark on this journey and see if this is lucrative, or let me join this group and see if this is, like an extension of family, right? And oftentimes the answer is there. You know it. You know the answer is no. It's not, but you still say, well, let me figure it out, right? So I think a blessing from the universe for me as I'm navigating through that lifestyle, like gang activity and nonsense of that caliber, is that in 2004, I'm at age 20, and the universe says, you know what? I'm gonna give you a young daughter. My daughter born on May 31st, 2004. That for me was like, okay, I'm responsible for a whole human being now.
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff here,
Changes.
finito, everything, you know. So that for me was a turning point. I'm 20 years old, about to be 21, and I'm responsible for a whole human being, and I had to figure a lot of things out. And I'm grateful for that. And I tell my children that all the time. I say, you know, all of you came at a time where it was needed for me to sit back and reflect and regroup, recalibrate, and devise a better and stronger plan. So I always honor them in that regard when I talk to them. And they're like, well, you know, like, what are you telling me that for? Like, you know, like, what the hell are you talking about?
You
but,
mean the world to me,
yeah,
man.
Yeah. You're like, whatever, Dad. What's
Is
going on?
these Jordans or no?
You don't know what I had to go through. You're just like, wait, what?
Yeah, for
All
sure,
I asked for was a couple extra dollars. Dad, what's up?
That's it. Yeah, I don't need no damn lecture. The hell you tell me about this? Yeah, you know, but definitely it has allowed for me to not only identify the important things that I always have to think about before I act.
Mm-hmm.
And it also allows for me to say, well, what this person is, anyone trying to bring you out of character, I have to, and again, it wasn't always like that. You know, at a younger age, when things became triggers, the normal way to react is through impulse.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know, the juvenile crap. Like, what you looking at? Why you grilling me, right?
Oh, that was a time
yeah,
in
what you grilling? Why you grilling me?
That was a time, bro.
Somebody bumped you by mistake. Yo, you know, it's lit. Step on your shoes. It's lit. You know, all kind of nonsense.
That's how every night ended at Empire, bro.
Yeah.
Every single night. It's
Yeah,
like, yo,
you
you
know,
going to the skate rink? Nah, not tonight, bro.
Nah, not there, right? And then you kind of, you know, though those are like pinnacles of our childhood, you kind of understand why a lot of those places don't exist anymore.
Exactly.
You know,
Because every night.
Yeah, you kind of understand, man. You know, you go down Empire Boulevard now, it's a big storage place there, you know, so it's, yeah, man. So just, again, taking that and understanding that every action does not deserve a reaction, right? But it does deserve for you to take in what you just heard or receive and process it. And then allow yourself to say, well, do I even want to give this any life? Do I even want to respond to this?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I read things or even hear things, and I do have the presence of mind based upon past experiences to say, well, you know what? I heard you. Let me process this and then identify how I want to respond. And a lot of times, as I alluded to earlier, a lot of people are saying things not anticipating any recourse, any, you know, because again, like, you know, we come from an era where you just could not just say and do things.
Oh, you know what was coming with it.
Yeah, you know, just, you know, go down the wrong block sometimes, right? Like, with no affiliation, just walking down the wrong block, like,
that gets you right in the middle of something.
You know, the whole, you know, I see it a lot on social media now, but I laugh at it, but it was a real thing, right? You know, you're going to go visit a female in a apartment building or projects.
Oh, that's the setup right there.
All the dudes is outside. She might be one of the baddest joints, you know, in the area. Like, yo, you know, we've been trying to holler her for years, and she ain't been giving us no play. You know, you coming through here, you know. It's uncharted territory.
Man, oh man.
It's a good old case of the PB right here, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop right here. See you later.
Yo, that gate, that's our cutoff right here. That gate is gonna separate me from where you at.
No, top of the block, bro. Top of the block.
Uncharted territory, you know.
I can hop the first gate. That's all I need. I just need to be able to get past the first one.
It's a very specific time in life.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm thinking about, again, the evolution through that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day about just people not having as much
manners and being courteous as they used to be. Like, yo, I had to use a house phone. Like, I had to talk to everybody in that house before I could talk to that girl. And I had to have manners because her mother would definitely hang up on me if I ain't come correct.
Good
you
evening,
know?
Mrs. Green.
Yeah, how you doing? And then the brother
how's
come
your day
on
been?
like, yo, you fucking with my sister? Nah, we cool.
Hey,
we just
hey, T, what's going on, man?
like
I'm just asking about the social studies, you know?
having that character building moment, I think, is missing from the world today, right? And especially when you think about cultivating a community of people that, like, now we gotta wrangle in people with all this energy that don't know what they want to do with it, man. The work that you're doing is amazing, right? I'm thinking about, you know, more along the lines of, what else have you learned in this space of creating space for others? Like, what has it taught you about yourself?
That's a good question, actually. It has taught me that you cannot be bigger than the space that you're creating. Right? I think ego is poisonous to an entity that's really trying to thrive, because there may be things that I think that every problem has a solution, right? Every problem does have a solution. Every problem doesn't have to be, well, you know what, I'm sorry you feel this way, but screw you. It doesn't have to be that. But also, I think that it's important to identify when things are happening that puts you in a place where you're starting to not only step off of your boundaries, step off of your meditation, but also it's starting to have you detract off of your mission, right? Like, once you create a mission and you identify, well, you know what, this is what we're targeting. If there are people in the space who alleges that their intentions are pure, but then starts to show you things over time that would be, you know, counterproductive to what the mission is, I think that at that point, you know, you have, you know, some decisions to make. Shout out to Devontae.
Salute.
A lot of times, like, there's really nothing that is decided without us, like, really conferring with one another to understand that we're not moving in a impulsive manner.
Yeah.
Without really assessing, and, you know, and again, even if said decisions may not be satisfactory to everyone, we'll live with that because, you know, we sat down and thought about the pros and the cons. But generally, at the end of the day, the important part is not to really deter from the mission, which is creating a space of community, not only for people of color, but, you know, a diverse space where people from different walks of life probably wouldn't, they see each other down the street, probably wouldn't even say hi to each other, but because of the common denominator of a bicycle, here we are in a space, all right, there's doctors, you know, lawyers, you know, people, you know, from different regions of the world, you know, all have something in common, right? And they're 9 to 5, you know, you're not with them, you know, and they're not with you, but hey, Saturday, I'll see you. Sunday, I'll see you, you know, and it opens up a conversation of, I can detach myself from what I'm dealing with in my 9 to 5, and you now become not only a community, but like an extension of my family.
Yeah.
You know, so, and a lot of us deal with things that are personal, and within that community, where if you don't feel comfortable, you probably won't share that, right?
Yeah.
But within that community, as this community now becomes an extension of your family, say, hey guys, I'm not really in the, you know, best frame of thought today. This is what's happening. This is what's happening, and you know, outside of the empathy that may be displayed or the well wishes, you may get some valuable insight or perspective that you probably weren't thinking of. You know, a lot of times, in our space, just random conversations come about, and someone is experienced in something more than you are. And with that, that's where the each one teach one mantra, comes into fruition.
Yeah, man. And when you lock into it, you'd be surprised how quick you can actually get some of the stuff that you thought was impossible to happen. And the experience is that much easier, You brought up a couple things. First, I got to shout out that brother Devontae as well. That brother's doing some solid community work just in his 9 to 5, right? I know because I showed up. I was at his spot. I didn't even know it was his spot that he was working with. Inside of, again, a community that I'm a part of. I'm entrenched and I've been around my whole life. And we got people that have real needs out here. We got people that they're food insecure. There are people who need clothing at different points in time. It's hot right now, but in the wintertime, people need coats, all the rest of that. So when I show up to do my role, do my part, and I'm greeted by people who are not just saying it, but also doing it, it's affirming to know that we're part of the same kind of continuum. We don't even know. It's affirming to see you in the men at work spaces and to come out and see, well, he's not just talking about this. He's also, hey, the whole crew is coming through. Yeah. And we're all going to be around here at the same time. So, yeah, man, I shout that out and I want to praise that because it's not typical. It's not common all the time. Much like this common sense thing. It's not typical and it's not common all the time, right? So when you're doing things that are different, it's important to make note as to why that difference is happening, Joe. Like, I'm looking at not just what you say CPC is going to be anchored in and where that's going to go. I've seen you host community sessions where you're taking in that feedback from the rest of the community. I've seen you put together things outside of just you being on the cycle to bring that fellowship in there, to help make people make those connections that, hey, this 9 to 5 person doesn't know this 9 to 5 person, but when we talk about family and when they come together, this is what they are able to accomplish. Man, I saw that firsthand, honestly, when we was doing that ride out to Shirley Chisholm, and the bike that you was on initially wasn't a bike that you ended up riding today, right? One thing led to another, but through the grace of the community, I saw people rally together and be like, nah, this is an injustice that has happened, and we will correct that injustice. How does it make you feel when you know people that are around you want to show up for you like that?
Well, I can tell you with that moment, that moment, to be honest, solidified the fact that that let me know that whatever work that's being done, it cannot be for personal gain. It needs to continue to be about the people because they showed up for me, right? They could have said, well, hey, man, shit happens, man. Bikes get messed up every day, B.
Yeah,
right?
but we wasn't just riding a regular. Let's paint the scene for people. You wasn't just riding a regular bike.
No, that's true.
Joe Black, who's pushing past you, going a speed that you can't clock. He's not riding it every day.
That's
like
the
city
noise
bike.
right there.
Yeah,
right there.
Here you come, there you go. What was you riding at that point in time?
At that point, it was a Cannondale System 6. And altogether, that bike was like 8 bands, like $8,000.
This is why I just wanted to make sure we was clear. This is a Toyota Corolla. All right? Facts. He's driving around on his Toyota
That's
Corolla.
The down payment.
Exactly.
Just to get it off the lot.
Yeah, man. And, that day was very unfortunate. And to see, all of you there in support, firsthand, that was definitely extra special, because you guys could say, hey, man, the fire department here, y'all good? All right, fool, yeah, right. But you guys definitely understood that, damn, though there's someone hurt and, definitely empathize with that. You don't want to see anybody hurt at any point in time. But then at large, I think the community understood, like, damn, here's this individual that's doing a service for the community at no cost. And the vessel that's required in order to do that is damaged, then how can that continue? So I think, in essence, that is probably why the response came about, among some other things. But I'm very grateful. I didn't know that there was going to be like a GoFundMe started. Shout out to Isaac.
Salute.
Yeah, shout out to Isaac. Isaac started it, and I didn't know, and then he let me know that he did that. And I said, well, you know what? As soon as it closes, I immediately and shout out to Mikhail, because Mikhail covered.
He got the video. Shout out to Mikhail for sure.
Shout out to Mikhail. He covered everything, you know, from the damage also to the acquisition of the new bike, which is still here today. So you know, I say to myself, which is like a specialized tarmac, SL7, and I say to myself with that bike, even if I get other bikes with it, that bike is not going anywhere.
Man, it came from a special place.
Yeah.
You gotta let them know what the color is on that too, man.
It's like a rose pink. It's like a rose pink. Yeah.
You see this man pull up on you on that rose pink. You're only gonna see it for a couple seconds. It's only gonna be there. It's gonna be there and it's gonna be gone.
Look, but don't touch neither.
Yeah, but it pull up. It's a statement piece when you get there, man. Now, in all seriousness, bro, I definitely, my heart was warm seeing that happen, right? And then to see how you live that embodiment of, hey, the ego can't be too big to go forward inside of that. Man, I could tell you about a lot of clubs that did not have that same philosophy, Joe.
Yeah, I know.
They done moved into different places.
Where they at, Tony?
They not here right now. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't understand that the transition that is to come next is something that we've talked about multiple times on this. You can't just say community, you have to do community, right? Yeah. And in that, you take on some roles and responsibilities, especially when you are at the helm, that should never be in question, right? When people put their faith in you in whatever shape or form, hey, some people who've never had that level of trust, they don't necessarily do the best stuff with it, Joe. You know, and they lose their way, they lose their route. So I'm happy that, you know, you have counterparts that can help you through the navigation. Like, can you talk to me a little bit more about the team that's central to putting this together, and happy to bring y'all to where y'all are today?
As we first started, again, like trying to identify structure, it was asked that, hey, you know, let's put together like a committee. At peak, our committee had like 12 members at peak. And at that point, one could say there's probably too many cooks in the kitchen.
Okay.
Right. And I think there's a lot of suggestions being made. And then to your point, you know, everybody could suggest things, but now when it comes to the execution, we have to show up. And the things that were being requested, I guess once identified all of the work that has to be put behind the execution of it, it probably was like a deterrent or discouraging for some people. And, you know, that 12 then kind of dwindled down. And, you know, some people even also expressed that, you know, what they want for their cycling journey, you know, is not for it to feel like a job, right? And that's real, right? You can't say, well, you know what, well, you started with this and now, you know, you want to leave. Like, there is no love lost, right? For the most part, we still see a lot of the former committee members, like, in passing, and is love. There's no, like, well, you left us high and dry, so, like, it's beef forever. Like, you know, it's not that. It's just, I understand, like, if the capacity is not there, or the wherewithal is not there to execute what is being suggested, then, you know, fine, then we'll figure it out. Shout out to Merle as well.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Sister Merle.
Merle has done like a lot of groundwork as far as the foundational pieces of our ability to communicate via some of our social channels and things of that nature. Merle has done a great deal, so, you know, to not acknowledge her contributions would be doing her a great disservice. But currently now, as it is from 12, it's currently just 2. So it is just myself and Devontae.
Okay.
And again, though we get things done, it's like by the, you know, we're spread kind of thin, but we understand that though we will be reaching out to try to, you know, expand that administrative body, we identify that, you know what, even though there's no longer 12, with 2 and with the community having a space to utilize is worth the work. To your point, like, as the pandemic, you know, was, you know, at its peak, there were a lot of entities, and there's not a lot left. And someone came to me and is like, well, outside of your group and this group, like there's really no other like spaces like that in the NYC cycling space that doesn't charge a membership fee. So to be specific, we're not the only group in NYC. There's plenty, but like as far as groups that like organically want you to come out and be a part of the community that does not charge you anything. You just have to ride your bike, and you stop at a lunch spot. I hope you got some money in your pocket to make sure you feed yourself. That's all. It's really have some inner tubes in case you catch a flat. And
exactly.
You get to the lunch spot. Make sure you can put some food in your stomach. Other than that, free to ride your bike.
Yeah, man. And bring them good legs with you, because it's the Century Plus crew. I just want to let everybody know.
Emphasis on the plus.
Plus.
It's the operative word there. And then focus on Century, because that's
Century.
That's
a hundo.
Yeah. That's a
plus.
piece.
So just so you know, you're going to be doing some work to earn that lunch over there, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I totally understand that story. Hey, man, you know what? I understand that story to the point where, hey, this used to be a 4-person crew.
Okay.
That part.
And now, we are also 2.
Yeah,
and along that route,
a little pick and roll now.
Right? It's pick and pop. That's all we got to do. Set the screen, go.
That's it.
But somewhere along that route, the thing that gets crystallized is something that I hear in your story too. There is a dedication to a singular focus once you can really get clear on what the mission is about, right? And that dedication to that singular focus to be so consistent to carry it all the way through the execution is also something that's not very common, Joe. Where do you get from all the stuff that you pull from, how do you get that, hey, we got to stay focused on this one thing? And where did you get the ability to do that? And how does that translate into the rest of the areas of your life?
That's a great question. As far as, I think from like life experiences, I kind of identified on more occasions than one what it looks like to, when things are going great, everyone hovers. And when things are not going so great, you kind of get to have a clear view of seeing the Red Sea like part. And with that, it gives that extra fire, especially as we allude to having a larger administrative body. And then as you start to see people disband, not even thinking that what we're expressing as a vision would be executed, it's like, well, damn, you think we're going to fail? That to me is a huge challenge. I don't like to fail, and I also don't mind if a failure does occur to take the learning points from them, so that when I revisit it, I can progress, right? Because oftentimes people identify failure as a travesty. It's like it's the end all be all. Oh, you failed, man. You out of here, man. Like, you done off, washed up. It is a learning lesson, right? Like, that's why I'm in school, right? You get failing grades, right? But you can revisit. But in terms of this unit, a lot of things that we have achieved were a lot of our earlier missions. Like the 501c3 has been like discussions from since 2021. One of the earlier, and it's kind of like toggling between, well, we going LLC or we going 501? Like, what's going on?
Where do you want to be?
Yeah, right. So then finally say, you know what, this is what we're doing. And then once the breakdown of the process, right, of all the paperwork, right, well, we got to do this through New York State. We got to do this, do that, right? We got to send this. It takes about 8 months. And it's like, oh, damn, we got to do all that? I don't know, man. I don't know if I still got the...
Yeah.
All right, cool. No problem. So starting something or being a co-founder of something and then seeing what it means to a large group of people, and then sometimes things happening as to where like figure it out, I accept the challenge. Because it's easy to talk about what you can do, but to show and prove, like, look, remember the thing we were talking about 4 years ago?
Yeah, it is.
We figured it out. So that's it, man. It's just being disciplined in challenges. So I could say where that stems from is probably through sports, and again through injury.
Okay, talk to me about the injury.
Through sports and injury. Shout out to MS-35 right there on McDonough between Lewis and Marcus Garvey.
Okay.
There's back in the days, is a Muslim coach called Kiwe, and his thing, he didn't really care how talented you were offensively. Like, if on defense you were slacking, he's pulling you out the game. Like, the discipline level that he wanted you to commit to on defense was so significant. And as you can see in today's game, as you watch, you can see why, right? If in any sport, right, if you can stop someone from scoring or being offensively significant, then your chances on the other end, if you are producing, of winning is probably very high. So shout out to Kiwe for instilling that discipline on that level. And outside of, in 2012, I had an ankle injury. I have like a plate and 2 screws in my right ankle, and it sat me down for a couple of months. And what I learned from that is that, again, people can express that they're here. People can express that they have your back. People can express that, yo, I'm on deck. But again, when your lows come into the limelight, sometimes that light gets dim.
Yeah.
And it was really a big learning point for me. And I definitely, it has helped me understand that, you can't take talk to the bank. It's definitely talk is inexpensive. The actions reign supreme, and for those that show up, for me, they understand that reciprocity is infinite.
Man, powerful, bro, powerful.
When you speak on just injuries, like Tony's been hit on his bike. I've been hit on my bike. I've had 2 knee surgeries. I tore my Achilles. And it always brings me to this point of, one, thanking the good Lord that I don't look like what I've been through, because that's always a thing. Secondarily, I think about the process that it takes to rebuild, to redefine, and to get better. Right, like that's a gap that a lot of people fall in between. To be able to, harness that gift for me is look like, yo, I got the power to heal, right? And I can share that knowledge with people, and that's something that I like to hang my hat on from time to time. It's like, yo, I'm sharing this gift with people that I was blessed to have, and it really does bring me joy when you lay out this story about community, about yourself, about healing. What really caught my attention was being able to slow the world down on 2 wheels, right? That was the thing that really stood out. If you could distill, your ultimate goal with everything that you've laid out, like, what does it look like for Century Plus crew in the future for that, but then also for yourself? Like, what do you see as a mile marker of success?
That's an excellent question, man. What I would gauge as a level of success is that as we're still moving forward and progressing, that there's a generation of young cyclists behind us that would not only want to partake in the similar activities, but also take their cycling journey wherever they see fit. So that's generally the goal, is to get more people on bikes that look like us. And, with that, help them identify the healing properties that come with cycling, but also not allow themselves to be boxed in, like, to any specific discipline of cycling. Like, you don't have to come in and say, well, I can only do road cycling, or I can only, ride, a fixed gear, or I can only ride, the fat tire bikes, and I can only do wheelies. Like, whatever it is that you want your cycling journey to be, just embody it. But just know your rights, right? Know your rights as a cyclist. Know the rules and regulations. Know your rights, because that's also important. Right now there's a war going on against cyclists, and
no man is safe from
yeah,
it.
They cracking down.
Yeah, so
City trying to close some gaps on this spending.
Yeah. I just seen that all that work that was being put together to get that Bedford Avenue protected lane put together. Certain powers that be was able to, have our beloved mayor, have a certain section, or actually the entire section, removed. So they're going to switch it back to where the cars park adjacent to the curb and the cyclists are basically adjacent to traffic. So that's unfortunate. But for the Century Plus crew, what's successful for us is to have the community keep growing, right? And it could be, it doesn't have to be just locally, right? It could be where people are relocating and say, well, hey, there's a chapter here, right? That'd be dope. But ideally, that also doesn't gauge what success is. I just would think that using cycling as an outlet for people who naturally won't have access to it, or who don't even think that cycling is something that...
It's for them.
Yes, it's for them. And then also working with people that has hit some rough patches.
Yeah.
And is one thing I see that Bike New York has is a PATH program that definitely it helps formerly incarcerated individuals learn, the nuances of, being a bicycle mechanic.
Yeah.
And supposedly at the end of the program, they try to get them internships with like City Bike and things like that. So I think that's very dope. I've actually also inquired about how, we can, align with them in that regard. But I know that there's also other programs out there well under the radar that deals with troubled youth. And again, just bringing the knowledge to people who may not be aware, because it's not talked about enough. Because again, in our area, when you think about bikes, it's just, the kind of bikes, and, just riding locally and not identifying that there's just so many different avenues to cycling. So just getting more people on bikes first and foremost, but also just trying to put on those 3D glasses as to, well, you look at cycling through this narrow lens, but
it's a whole world out here.
Yeah, and the people that you come across, again, is a whole different level of networking. Again, you're going to probably encounter people that you normally wouldn't. but you have something in common, and that at least starts the conversation.
It's a solid icebreaker, man.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're pulling up and your bike is looking like, that rose-colored situation. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You can say, I got rosé on deck. What's up, man? This whenever I pull up. It's light work right here, baby. What you need? That's that. Right past you. Just making it move, man. Nah, in all seriousness, bro, I love seeing any of the work that helps impact recidivism, because when people have more options, they're going to take those different options to go into different areas. So I love hearing about that in the cycling community. I know I'm constantly surrounded by that in some of the other spaces that we've been frequenting. We've been doing more work in the cancer wellness space, and I've seen firsthand, I have friends that have gotten licenses to open up spaces to change the life and outcome, honestly, from a space that they've already been dealing with for the longest time. And now that everybody else is getting an opportunity to make profit off of it, they could also profit too the same way, man. I think it's amazing to see what people can do for themselves once they know it's possible, right? And all throughout this, I see the story of, hey, people need to discover, they need to have the belief system in themselves, like, I can't ride a century. What? Oh, once you see somebody else doing it, that they kind of look like you, oh, hey, maybe I need to do that. Maybe I can do that. Maybe I could go and see all these different uncharted areas of the city, and maybe that's going to be something that, I could do with a couple friends too. It sounds like it's a fly type of situation, man. So you very much are carrying the torch for what that success is going to be, and you will continue that to go forward, man. I want to stay on that note for a second, Joe. I need you to tell me about what you got coming up in September with some of the other people that you pulled together, man.
Okay.
I need you to talk about this for a second, and I want you to be in the mode of, hey, we still trying to bring some more people to this tent right quick, right?
Absolutely.
When you're bringing the people to the tent, Joe, this is going to be a solid asset right here, my brother.
Absolutely.
So when you got to ask,
Absolutely.
I need the ask to be as big as the dream, my brother.
Absolutely.
Sounds clear?
Yeah, absolutely.
My man.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, we have in July, next Saturday, right, we have the Women-Led Century.
That's what's up.
There's a lot of misconception with that. People think, well, because it's titled Women-Led Century, that is only for women. That's not true. It's women-led, women, and the women are also the sweep for the ride.
Okay.
But it is highly encouraged for the brothers to come out and support the queens, right? As the cycling landscape for people of color, we're still on an uphill, like on a major incline, like to, create that equal level playing field. But, especially we want to be supportive of all of us, right? Don't want to kind of downplay the ride because, it's women led. We want everyone to feel supported and feel seen and feel appreciated.
Pause that for a second. Why is it important for women to lead this ride?
It's important that women are leading this ride because cycling is still such a male-dominated space. From the super professional level to even where we are. And though there are women that's making a significant amount of strides, I think for us to say, well, you know what, you have the abilities to do this, we know this, and for some reason, the rest of the world doesn't see it. We need to illuminate that and show, like, look, show them what you could do, right? Because talk is cheap. We can express that, this person can do this person can do that, but the best picture that we can paint is through, the vivid execution of what they're witnessing. So we want people to identify that the women are more than capable of leading said ride, and this ride is now in its third installment, and a lot of people have done their first century within this ride. So it's kind of a staple. This, along with like Heckscher State Park, which already passed, but that's a milestone that a lot of people have not achieved, and when they achieve it, they should feel accomplished. So is Century Plus Crew in collaboration with Black Girls Do Bike NYC.
Shout out.
And it's this upcoming Saturday, next Saturday, July 19, 2025. Like the registration on the Eventbrite. There's on links all over the place, but on Century Plus Crew's Instagram page and Black Girls Do Bike.
Shout out to Lisa over there,
Definitely
for sure.
Shout out to Lisa.
We got some solid leadership on that front, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love to see it, brother. I love to see it. So we bringing that together in July. Okay, now progress me through where else you got on the menu, my friend.
Okay, so in August we're going to Philly.
Okay.
We do that yearly. this year the ride doesn't fall on the 24th, but last year it did, and we kind of put the spin on it, like the 8 and the 24, right? Those are Kobe numbers. Yeah. So it was like the ride was called a Mamba Mentality Century. And we had a great showing, a great turnout for that. And that Philly ride seems to, be a favorite for many of the people that, comes through and participates. So,
and you go straight through New York to Philly?
From New York through Jersey to Philly.
Okay.
Yeah. So you generally take the ferry to Staten Island, over the Goethals, into Jersey. Ride through, Trenton, past Princeton, all of that. And then, get into Pennsylvania and navigate our way to Philly. So it's a pretty dope ride, man. Very scenic, serene for the most part. You're not really, you're definitely seeing a lot of trees and open roads. So it's a very serene ride. A couple of hills, but you don't want to avoid those. Hills are part of cycling.
That's
right?
why he could make it past y'all a lot faster, because he takes those hills on for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. He's just eating all them damn hills.
Hills are definitely a part of cycling, man. And to your question, in September 7th, there's a collective of crews that are coming together, which is now called the Big Borough Bike Ride, which is formerly the Giants Ride.
Okay.
The Big Borough Bike Ride includes Ciclistas Latino Americanas of New York.
Shout out to my Queens folks.
Right. It includes Social Cycling, NYC.
Yeah. Columbus Circle all day.
Absolutely. It includes Ridgewood Rides.
Also Queens folks.
Yeah, absolutely. it includes BX Bike Girl Gang.
Uptown, baby.
Absolutely. Century Plus Crew.
Other side of the park, man.
Absolutely.
We there with you.
Black Girls Do Bike, NYC. Also, NYC Bike and Brew.
For sure.
NYC Bike and Brew, and then Brooklyn Cycling Family, man. Shout out to Zell.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to Champ Cycle too. Champ.
Hell yeah.
My man Eric.
Eric, man.
Yeah.
You gotta give Eric Graham some love too, man. That's part of the fam.
Shout out to Champ Cycles, man. He's doing a lot of work. And this ride, the Giants ride came about in 2000, and the crews involved with that was Goodco, MBR, Blood, Sweat, and Gears, and Wrecking Crew. Those 4 crews basically, brought that ride into fruition, and it had such a great response. And it was really the only ride of its kind that was free. Trying to get all, and of course, the pandemic, the streets are still kind of wide open. So, it was something I said, New York City needs something like this yearly. And when I spoke to one of the organizers of the first ride about, is that ride coming back? And, it was expressed that it wasn't because of some, lack of, he expressed it like, like politics, right? He said, like, there's a lot of political stuff going on.
It's funny that's the word to land on.
Yeah, he expressed it like that, man. But I said, like, damn, man, it's like a missed opportunity. I think when you're able to get so many people together and show strength in numbers and show solidarity and show that, well, as a community, we're here. Like, respect us, right? We're advocating also for, say for cycling infrastructure. But it's definitely more to display solidarity than it is to be rebellious. And it's a space that brings out all disciplines of cyclists. You have the wheelie guys and girls that come out, throw their wheelies up, and you have, road cyclists, whether they race or whatever. You have, fixed gear, single speed, whoever, cruisers, the people on the incumbent bikes, right?
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to see that, so many different levels of cyclists coming out just to say, this day we're in the streets, this is ours, and I need y'all to hold it down until we're done.
Yeah.
That's it, man. So that ride is happening September 7th. The anticipation of attendance, if we're gauging it from last year, it could be anywhere from 800 to 1,000 cyclists. And yeah, definitely we're definitely still in the process of reaching out to any brands that would be synonymous to what we would deem to be in alignment with principles, mission and principles. And yeah, so we're in the process of still reaching out to a lot of brands, just trying to establish, solid partnership, because there's a lot of people coming through, and there's value in that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
There's value in so many cyclists, and for, a brand that, may want more notoriety, right? A fair trade-off. You get to promotion and notoriety and all that stuff, bring some eyes and attention to your entity. And, we're hoping that, you can provide things that can be distributed to, our faithful community.
Yeah, man. And I know firsthand, there's months of programming that goes into all of this. There's months of conversations, weekly meetings. We're talking about running the test route, rerunning the test route, because, New York City, there's going to be a whole construction that happens the week before that you ain't even know about. And now you got to reroute everything else. You're putting all these different pieces together. So the time, energy, and effort that all of these separate clubs are putting in is something that is not just valuable because they're bringing these many people together, but because this is a pour into the pure, sentiment of we're doing this for the love. We're doing this to come together. We're doing this to make work, right? So if you could talk to me about the needs that's there, what are some of the needs along the way that somebody, a brand out there, might be looking to figure out or solve? Where are y'all at in terms of, what's the ask, what's the needs, and, I guess from that standpoint, help me point out the pictures. Here's how y'all going to overcome some of these hurdles this year.
Well, as far as logistics, we're pretty sound on that. The needs would probably be to basically help create a landscape of support for the attendees. And that's generally where we're at, because once we can identify and solidify those partnerships, and then also probably down the line, because as this ride is just, we gather the people and we go, right?
Yeah.
But just trying to identify if, direction, trying to identify direction in terms of structure. That's a conversation to be had, but again, for a brand, there is a trade-off here. There's a trade-off in terms of the notoriety and the idea that, well, you know what, this brand said, well, I'm going to take a chance on this. It says a lot, and I think for the people in attendance, it'll bring, awareness as to this brand, what they stand for, and, why they decided to align, and if, I think the power of standing behind things that are rooted in things that are genuine can only be beneficial. So the acts, basically, at the moment, we're not currently in the space to ask any brands for anything, not asking for anything as far as any monetary, gifts, so to speak, but we're definitely asking that if there is any kind of influx in inventory, or any way to support the ride in that regard, partnerships, whether that be if you are an entity that can provide a service for, bike fits, bike repairs, whatever case may be, things that are bike specific, whether it's merchandise, nutrition, hydration, but yeah, bike specific stuff, because you're dealing with cyclists. So that's kind of where we are with that.
So anybody that can step up and take care of problems in the cycling world is appropriate to be inside here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I love that, man. I love that. Y'all heard it here first, all right? We trying to make sure that we are taken care of and catering to the community that's going to be out there on them wheels, man. I love that, bro.
Absolutely.
Now, Joe, I heard everything about the community, right? And I love that you put that first and that's at the forefront. My man, we're going to close this out talking exclusively about you and what Joe likes, right? Because I need to understand where the man is at, right?
Okay.
Like, are you reading anything good recently, or is there anything on the forefront that you've read that, you know what, this is something that I keep going back to and revisiting?
I've recently read a autobiography by Trevor Noah, actually.
Okay. He was like Born to Sin or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I definitely had that.
It's an eye-opening book because you're thinking, well, you know, he's a comedian, right? He's just gonna crack a bunch of jokes and stuff like that. But no, it's definitely an eye-opener, expressing one's walk through life, right? Dealing with, you know, post-apartheid.
Yeah.
South Africa.
Homie's a product of apartheid.
Yeah, right. You know,
that's real rap.
Post-apartheid South Africa, and also just dealing with just piecing together the mastery of creating different languages so that basically to keep a certain level of control, right? Obviously, and within that, the segmenting of, you know, colorism, right?
Mm-hmm.
That still is a pretty big thing there. And what I grasp from that is like a homage to his mom.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing all the things that she went through as a single mom, and for him, you know, being, you know, a mixed child, and because those relationships at that time couldn't be exclusive.
Yeah, you couldn't say that.
Yeah, right. It couldn't be exclusive.
That was a crime. It literally was a crime.
Correct. You know, so just seeing how, you know, she had to navigate through all of those hurdles, and for him, while navigating through those hurdles, trying to find an identity, like trying to tap into lineage and things of that nature, it was not easy. But seeing up until like her mom almost losing her life because of a jealous significant other, you know, you try to take her out, and she survived, right? You know, just her, and seeing how the family pulled through that, it was a real moment because you don't really see comedians tap into things on that level, because the book got very political. It gave insight as to the upbringing and the structure, but it also gave insight as to, well, look at all of the things I've been through, but look at how it has shaped me, and look at how I'm carrying myself. Like, I'm not wearing these trials and tribulations on my sleeve. Like, I've definitely, I'm cognizant of them, but it doesn't define who I am. And I have done the work and the due diligence to provide not only this knowledge as to what I've been through, but also to have you all reading this book to identify that wearing grief on your sleeve is probably counterproductive. Seeing that you can deal with things and still reach the certain level as to where he is expresses that a lot of what one may deem to be setbacks does not have to be your fork in the road. It can honestly just be where it is someone teaching you a whole bunch of life learned lessons, and as you identify what those lessons are, absorb that and use it as teaching points for those that come behind you.
Man, profound, bro. You sound like you got a book in you. I hear it. It's like, wait a second, Joe he working on a novel right here. I can see it. It's gonna be the self-help. I'm buying it. I'm just letting you know. As soon as you put the pen to the pad, my man, it's coming across.
Fiction, real rap.
You know what I'm saying? It's coming real spill. It's like more is caught than taught. The autobiography of, he's gonna put it together, man. I'm here for it. I'm here to see it.
Okay.
What you listening to these days, my brother?
To be honest, a lot of 70s and 80s soul music.
Okay, paint the picture now.
Yeah.
Where we at when we listening to the soul?
A lot of 70s, and I'm listening to a lot of Teddy P.
Okay.
I'm listening to a lot of Whispers. I'm listening to a lot of those. Obviously, a lot of Stevie Wonder is always in the mix.
Okay.
But it's very hard for me, like post 2010 music.
Don't do it the same way.
It's very difficult for me, man. It's very difficult, man. But I get it, right? Because of course the generations before us, obviously thought the same thing. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure when hip hop reached the surface and Kool Herc and them was, I'm sure the OGs, their OGs, like, turn that.
What is this?
All that goddamn noise. I'm
that
sure.
boobity boop.
Yeah. I'm sure, man. So I guess, it could either be over time an adjustment needs to be made, or the lyricism just needs more context, because that's what I'm listening to as you guys are speaking about Digital Planets, and we're from an Illmatic era, and Tribe, like, the beats are dope because they had great producers, but like the lyrical content,
substance,
some
soul in that, man. There's some soul stirring music.
Yeah, so like as I'm listening, I really try to listen to these albums, and it's tough. I did get a chance to listen to that, some of the music that the Clips just dropped.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
And it's it's like hip hop was definitely in dire need of a project like this.
Timestamp, man.
Yeah,
they put it on.
Yeah, definitely in dire need of a project like this, because it allows us to get back to bars, right?
Yeah,
and you could kind of, as that Kendrick and Drake stuff kind of, it seemed like it won't go anywhere, but at least like the pinnacle of that, if we could kind of, is this gonna be what it's gonna be?
That pot's still simmering, man.
Yeah. It's gonna be what it's gonna be, but if that's all we had to base, current day hip hop on, then we're in trouble, man.
Yeah, we got to do some navigation, but there's some shining moments in there and there's some shining lights, so I'm happy about that. Okay. Now we got to get into these bikes real quick, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I know that you got two, right? But you talked about one. I need to hear a little bit about that. I told you that red bike that just passed me. I was like, I seen that blur. We talked about the Rose. What's the other one you riding over there, man?
Yeah, so it's a red Chanelli Vigorelli Shark.
That even sound fast.
Yeah.
It sound like luxury rap right there, yo.
Shark on land.
There's too many eyes in all of those words to not be expensive, bro. I don't even understand.
The beauty of track bikes and fixed gear bikes is that how you build it, is there's a high level of sentimental value with these bikes, because you basically design how you want your bike to look. You get the frame. That's what I did with that bike. I did get the frame from RNA Cycles on Fifth Avenue.
Okay.
And that was it, just the frame. It came with the frame and just a seat post. So everything else, like your handlebar, your crankset, the chain, the wheels, like everything else is just you kind of, tapping into your own creative, capabilities. So like it creates that level of sentiment that it's like, well, you know what? I did this.
Yeah.
As opposed to most road bikes, right? They're super expensive as hell. So it's like, as you get them, it's like the company already put it together how they want you to have it.
You ain't doing a whole lot of customization on that.
You're not. So I'm on that bike, the Chanelli, more because it's like an expression of my personality. And I think most people that ride single speed fixed gear bikes may feel the same way. They may feel the same way. It's like, and of course, the way that you are one with the bike, right? There are no gears. If you stop pedaling, your knees are going to pay for it, you know. So you are one with the bike. So, and you have to stop the bike, with your feet as well.
Very manual.
Yes, correct. So just being in unison with the bike altogether is why, for me, my preferred bike 80 to 85% of the time to ride daily is my Chanelli.
Man, he's the man in the machine right there. They became one. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like a master with a sword. He understands now. He's cutting through the air, cutting through traffic. Oh, I see this lane. I know where you're going. Absolutely. I know how to move and groove. Absolutely. When you're doing that movement, man, you're covering a lot of ground. We said century plus. You done been all around the world and right? Absolutely. What's some of your favorite spots to ride through in the city?
In the city... In the city, I would probably have to say I like that Unisphere in Flushing Meadows.
Okay.
I like the Unisphere in Flushing Meadows.
It's the Men in Black joint out there.
Yeah. I
the
like
aliens
that.
was fighting now.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I'm also a big fan of the Putnam County Trail by Van Cortlandt, because that right there is the opening to wherever you want to go upstate, as far as Poughkeepsie and beyond. Right, that trail goes all the way to Montreal. You want to go to Canada?
See, that's the plus in Century Plus right there. Right? He didn't put a baguette in that ride. I didn't think we was gonna get to it.
Poutine,
right? Exactly.
Yeah, that trail goes all the way to Montreal or Buffalo if one saw fit. But it's for the most part, right? You're separated from traffic. So again, you're around foliage, you're around nature, and you could just definitely tune out and just ride your bike. So that being on that trail is definitely, one of my most desired spots. But yeah, for the most part, anywhere that allows the bike to keep moving.
Yeah, with no stoppage.
Is my favorite place.
I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down, my brother.
Yeah. Having to stop, every 2 blocks, it's just
that ain't it.
Nah, it's not.
You want to be in the zone. You want to be moving.
Absolutely.
Mind is feeling free. You able to process. You able to let go some of the day. I see you, man. Okay, absolutely. We get through that ride, right? It's in a beautiful vista. We go through the whole space, and it's serene out there. What's your favorite post-ride meal?
Excellent question. I think my favorite post-ride meal would probably have to be, probably penne and salmon.
Okay.
Yeah, penne and salmon. Just at that point, trying to put back whatever I lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Trying to put back whatever carbs and protein I lost.
Good carb, good protein.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel you, man. I feel you. Okay, and if there was one thing that you say that the cycling community at large needs next, it's what?
More support.
Okay.
And I know that's a broad statement, but I think more support from the companies that we have been supporting. Again, cycling is a very expensive hobby, and not everyone has accessibility to certain things. And when equipment fails or bikes break down, it's probably the end of the road for a lot of people. So just want more support from the entities that we have been supporting, throughout the years. I know a lot of funds and a lot of resources are funneled to Europe, right? Currently, the Tour de France is currently happening as we speak. If you ever get a chance to watch it, if you see the amount of people on the sidelines rooting and cheering, you see the amount of support vehicles with bike racks with like freaking 6 to 8 bikes on the top of it, all ranging in price point of freaking, 15,000 hours. Or,
20, 30 pieces up there too.
So, again, as we try to cultivate a space that will allow people from underserved communities and people who may not be as knowledgeable or cognizant of, some of the benefits of cycling, we need the backing of some of these companies to be like, well, you know what, I see what you're trying to do. Like, let's help you out. Let's help that vision come into fruition. Like, you're not saying, well, you know what, just sit back and just give us a handout, but help us help them.
Yeah, part of that is being able to have the right packaging, right? Mm-hmm. So now having the right established, structure and everything else, I'm sure that opens up a whole different set of doors, right? And then part of that is also keeping people accountable. It's like, hey, if I'm making whatever you got going on cool, I'm going to sell more of this through the nature of all the stuff that we're doing. If you have audience, people with product can easily understand where that leverage needs to be executed, man. And the better you are prepared to have those conversations, the better those conversations don't just have to be one-sided in nature. So I'm totally supportive of that, man, and I'm always happy to hear that. I'm loving to see where the evolution is going. I can't wait to see where else y'all gonna take it next, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Brother Joe, man, as we break down and the sun sets on the conversation, man, there's something that we ask of our guests, and that is that you give advice to our listeners off the strength, a way for them to put their best foot forward. You are an evolved man, you know what I mean? You have began to evolve into this entrepreneurial journey, right, and providing for a community. What's some advice you could give our listeners to taking that first step to really cement themselves into whatever that passion is that they have?
I think you should know who is truly in your tribe, right, if you have one. If it's a solo mission, then seek support. Try, of course, you want to do your due diligence to do all of the research that you possibly can in order to achieve your goal, but don't shy away from being a student. I think a know-it-all knows nothing, right? A know-it-all knows nothing. I think being receptive to, as you have whatever knowledge that you have, and you're taking those steps to achieve whatever your target goal is, always being receptive to learning as you're going, I think will prove to be one of your greatest assets going forward. Refuting knowledge that may be conducive to whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish is just not wise. But what I would say is that if you're truly passionate about something, do not allow someone else's experience to discourage you from your journey. Someone else's experience may not be your experience. So just stay on the path. And again, if you hit a bump in the road, fix the tire, get back in the car, keep on driving.
Quite literally. He's making it count, man. Brother Joe, I am super appreciative of everything that we've gotten to share. From Century Plus has pulled up to every one of the off-the-strength cycling related things, every one of the push-to-pace cycling related things, so I want to make sure that you understand that this platform is also an extension of your platform, my friend. So if there's ever any need that you have, that you need to get out to more people and we can play a role in that, I need you to understand that this is a part of what you have to offer in that same side, right?
Appreciate that.
In that same regard, I need everybody to know how they can keep up with you, what you got going on next, and like how they're going to follow all of what Century Plus is doing. So please give me all of your handles right now, and we're going to keep this thing moving, man.
Okay. You can follow us on Instagram at Century Plus Crew, Facebook at Century Plus Crew, TikTok at Century Plus Crew. And through the Instagram, it generally has a description as to who we are, what we're about, our journey, and it has a link tree where, you can inquire about joining our WhatsApp space where, outside of the information that we disseminate on our social media platform. You know, in our community, we have different forums. You know, we talk about sports, you know, talk about safety stuff, talk about cycling. You know, we definitely shoot the breeze about different stuff, man. So, you want to be a part of a family that's, you know, genuine, organic, that's not asking of anything from you other than for you to come as your best organic self, then there's a home here for you.
There we go, man. I love to hear that, bro. I'm gonna step my game up a little bit, Kyle.
How so?
I need to understand also, like, this brother also has a very solid health and wellness regime, right? I see him in the gym. You know what I'm saying? I too want to achieve melanin god status one day, man. I want to be Tony, melanin adjacent to, you know, I'll be on this side. You know, we got a little bit more to work to, you know what I'm saying? I want to get up there, right? So I need the skincare routine, I need leg workout, I need all that. I want to be just as fast as this guy, and I want to be, you know, be able to achieve my prime melanin god self too, man. I'm trying to do this, Joe. You gonna help me out?
You got it, man.
There we go, baby. I'm ready to rock. Now, when you see me on the bike and I'm moving faster, know where I got it from, man.
Absolutely, we're here, man.
That's exactly it, man. Yo, Brother Joe, again, I appreciate you for pulling up so much, man. Much love, you know, always gonna be here with you, man, lockstep. And whenever we taking off something next, you know, you let me know when I gotta pull up, man.
Definitely. Appreciate you, Ken.
Ready to rock,
Appreciate
man.
you,
Yes, sir.
Once again, it's been another fantastic episode of Off the Strength. I'm a trainer called Tony.
KR Jones.
Peace and much love to everybody out there. Till next time, we'll see you soon. Peace. What's good, everybody? I'm a trainer called Tony, and I am here from the infamous Off the Strength podcast, asking you today, listeners, viewers, wherever you may be, to please like, listen, and subscribe to our podcast. This is how we're going to continue to be able to deliver you the best goddamn wellness information out here. So if you want to keep hearing this and you want us to keep growing, you are a part of this show just as much as anything else. So please go to offthestrength.com. Make sure you check out our blogs. Make sure you check us out on IG. And if you're hearing this voice and you didn't hit that subscribe button, know that Kyle is going to come looking for you.
You got that right.